have to. I mean, what do you want to do? You want to use a CD player, or do you want to jerry-rig some? Schumacher's not going to be real happy with it, jerry-rig it.
He's not going to be really happy with what?
A jerry-rig system, I don't think.
Yeah, I'll just take this.
Worrying about me so much, Ned. It's like they feel like they have a tiptoe in his
The one that Joey cut his teeth on and Junior lost.
Knows and treat hyperactivity.
Very, very enthusiastic, and suddenly there were a couple of hundred students involved, and some police had to come in. Trouble on the usually quiet campus of the prestigious University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. About 36 students right now occupying the office of the president of the university, and they are protesting plans to form an armed campus police force. But hundreds of other U of M students who were staging a sit-in on the first floor of the same building have been forced out by police who were called. Channel 7's Ken Ford was in the middle of this turmoil, and Ken joins us now with a live-action camera report from Ann Arbor. Ken?
Well, Bill, right at this moment, the situation is peaceful. But make no mistake about it, it is very, very tense outside the administration building. Inside the building are campus police and Ann Arbor police. Outside, on the square outside the building, are students, and then surrounding the building are more students and more police. And the situation, as I said, is very, very tense at the moment, and there's a feeling that something could still happen here. It began peacefully enough. Several hundred students assembled in a rally outside the university's administration building. They were there to show support for the people occupying the president's office on the second floor. And then it happened. Students described as members of a radical political party began to scuffle with campus police. Within minutes, the entire first floor of the administration building had been taken over. At 2:35, Ann Arbor police, obviously summoned by the university, came into the building to begin to try to get some order in what appears to be a pretty chaotic situation.
We're going to sit here until our administration takes notice of us. There are 70% of students that voted against the deputization of a campus police force, and they've refused time and time again to listen to us, and they can't ignore us anymore.
How long will you stay?
I don't know. How long will it take?
You're not even a student here anymore.
Okay,
you want to be in here doing this?
Yes, I do want to be in here because this is a gross injustice that the university is perpetuating. It's not just a matter of having police on campus. We're not opposed to police and security on campus. We are opposed to not having a voice in what the university does, and it's not just a matter of there being police. It's a matter of the fact that these police are going to enforce a non-academic code of conduct that is going to govern what students say and do outside of the classroom.
There are more than 35,000 students on this campus. Most of them would never be part of the kind of thing that happened here today. But that does not mean that they like police on campus any better than the rest.
I don't think they want guns on campus and our tuition money going towards guns for cops. Overall, I would say that I kind of think it's the majority of the feeling. Just that for our tuition to go towards that, I don't think that that's necessarily going to solve any of the incidences that happen, any of the crime that happens on campus.
Now, you have to understand there are real and conflicting emotions on this campus. Surveys they've done out here show that most people, the vast majority of the people, are afraid to be on this campus after dark. And yet the vast majority also don't want armed police officers on the campus, the university, on the grounds here. But the university says, look, it's a done deal. We've hired the police, we've got them, we're going to keep them. What about the people sitting in the president's office? Well, the university says they can stay there for now. They haven't decided when they're going to go. Reporting live from Ann Arbor, I'm Ken Ford. Channel 7 Action News, back to you, Bill.
Ken, the earliest reports, some people were suggesting that yesterday's much smaller demonstration was primarily a protest by gays and lesbians. That certainly did not seem to be, if that is true, and we have not been able to confirm that, that's the information we were getting, that certainly was not the case today. Well, it seemed to be a valid cross-section of the university, was it?
Absolutely, and I was up in on the second floor today. I don't know how you can tell who's gay and who's lesbian, but I was on the second floor today, and the people seemed pretty normal to me, well, here today, certainly they were a cross-section, I'd say.
Yeah, we're not talking about normal. I mean,
yeah, I understand.
When gays stand up and say, we feel that gay rights are being violated, and lesbians stand up and say lesbian rights are being violated, they identify themselves. But it certainly it seemed to me to be a much broader-based protest than than that, which was
well,
the information we had yesterday.
There were some people there protesting gay rights and protesting for more research on AIDS, but they were few, but they all joined in protesting the presence of the campus police.
Well, the protest movement apparently is moving then, getting bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very definitely. Very definitely.
Thanks, Ken. Security on campus has been a continuing problem at the University of Michigan. Last March, a task force reported that most people were afraid to go out after dark on campus. 1 month later, the regents okayed setting up an armed police force. And as you saw today, a lot of students don't like it. Robbie?
Strong emotions ranging from tears to anger today at the sentencing of Troy and Jane Mc...
Students who oppose that policy want to be heard.
No, you're not a true one.
While scores of students listen to speakers outside the administration building where the regents are meeting, about 100 students have occupied the first floor of that building. They're protesting a policy of having an armed campus police force.
Students don't want this. In the last Michigan Student Assembly student government election, 70% of students voted against deputization, said we don't want deputized officers on campus, and yet the regents and also the faculty senate said we don't want deputization.
Ann Arbor police have been on the scene, but no trouble has been reported. Well, for some Michigan deer hunters, the hunting season, which began at sunrise today, is already over. They've bagged their trophies and they're headed home. But hundreds of thousands of others remain in Michigan's North Country.
The demonstrators have occupied the office of the president of the university. Channel 7's Ken Ford has the latest in this live-action camera report from Ann Arbor. Ken?
Well, Guy, it's very tense out here in Ann Arbor at this moment. Several hundred university students are surrounding the administration building. They're being faced by Ann Arbor and campus police in riot gear, many of them. And also on the second floor of the administration building in the president's office, other students who've been there for 2 days now continue their occupation. This whole thing is over the presence of armed campus police on the campus. The students say they've got to go, and the university says they stay. It was loud, but it was peaceful. Big crowd demonstrating against an armed campus police force and in support of 24 other students occupying the office of the school's president on the second floor of the administration building. And then it all changed. Several students, members of a radical political organization, tried to force their way past campus police. Within minutes, they were joined by several hundred other students. Too many to stop.
It was a little hectic getting into the building, but nobody is hurt. Everybody's fine. We're all in solidarity with the people who went in upstairs, and as I said before, this is a non-violent incident.
With the arrival of Ann Arbor police, those students occupying the ground floor were made to move outside. But workers in the building had seen enough. Evacuate.
The staff, especially the secretarial staff, become frightened by demonstrations, and they don't really understand them. And when this got out of control and it seemed as though people were getting hurt, I think the decision was made to let them go home because they're scared.
Were there people hurt?
Well, we don't know. I mean, you know, there's so much rumor, but a couple of security people were rushed, and I honestly don't know yet.
We haven't been able to confirm any injuries, but in the past few minutes, a busload of Ann Arbor police dressed in riot gear has arrived at the administration building. They've stayed on their bus, but it seems clear they're ready to get off, ready to make arrests, ready to go into action. Until the arrival of the Ann Arbor police in riot gear with their bus, it seemed likely that this occupation, the occupation of the president's office, was going to last at least another night. I'd spoken to a spokesman for the university earlier in the day, and they said they had no plans to move the people out, but now it seems clear that police do intend to move them out, and there will probably be arrests. Reporting live from Ann Arbor, I'm Ken Ford, Channel 7 Action News. Back to you, Guy.
All right, thank you, Ken. In the midst of today's turmoil, the University of Michigan Board of Regents was scheduled to meet at the administration building, but that meeting was moved to Chrysler Arena. The issue of campus police officers was not on the agenda. Detroit Mayor Coleman Young will have to testify at
Upset. Dozens of demonstrators at the U of M, Ann Arbor, tonight moving their protest from the office of the president to the house of the president. Good evening, everybody. They are camped out on the front lawn of the home belonging to University President James Duderstadt. The students oppose having armed security guards, pistol-packing cops, as some put it, on their campus. The fact is, before the plan went into effect and the officers were deputized, U of M thus was the only university in the Big Ten that did not have guards with guns. And the latest on the protest tonight from Channel 7 reporter Dave Gilbert.
It now really looks like a flashback to the 60s here on campus. Tonight, after leaving the administration building, students moved their protest to the president's house. Although he's not home, they're staging an all-night sit-in on the front lawn. Earlier tonight, Ann Arbor police kicked the original protesters out of the president's office. Police told students they were under arrest and forced all protesters out. But there's some confusion about the arrests.
They took pictures of us and they took some information down. I don't know if we're arrested or not. As far as I know, the lawyer says that we can be arrested for we can be notified about it.
Filled out their documents. They read the Trespassing Act. They said we were under arrest. Maybe it was a joke. I mean, not a joke, but maybe it was a ploy to get us out of the building.
Before tonight's action, this afternoon, hundreds of protesters outside stormed the building, pushing past security, streaming into the first floor. Police did move in very peacefully and very quickly. Although the administration building was cleared of all students tonight, the protesting didn't stop. Many surrounded the police bus.
We don't want cops on campus! We don't want guns on campus!
Meanwhile, other students on campus say the protesters just represent a small fringe minority.
The student population as a whole is not opposed to the deputization of police force.
The protesters here aren't giving up by any means. Tomorrow at noon, they plan to stage a mass student rally in front of the student union to talk about their next options. One proposal is calling a student strike on Monday. At the U of M, I'm Dave Gilbert, Channel 7 Action News reporting.
Keeping in mind that there are some 40,000 students attending the University of Michigan, there are many students who say it is not the armed guards that they're opposed to, but the fact that the university regents approved of this plan without consulting them. Some of the students told us earlier that 70% of the students voted against the plan. The regents adopted the plan last spring because of crimes committed on campus, crimes against students. Diana?
The microscope is on the so-called Keating 5.
They are upset because university officials want to form an armed campus police force and because they had no say in the matter. Now about 100 of them are staging a sit-in at the home of the university president. Officials say they'll go ahead with their plans. The group plans to rally again tomorrow at noon at the student union, when they will ask all students on campus to boycott classes on Monday.
It appears the rumors are true. Nobody in this building is going to forget the frightening rush of hundreds of students who came in here yesterday and took over 2 floors of the building. No one expected that to happen yesterday. They hope nobody tries it today. But neither police nor the school intend to be caught unprepared.
We want to make a clear statement that while we condone free speech and freedom of assembly, we cannot condone violence and vandalism, and so we believe it's in our best interest in this instance to simply pursue this through the courts.
Louis Rubinson is one of those responsible for what's happening out here.
We do not want to disrupt the community atmosphere here. We're students. We want to go to class. We are calling for a strike on Monday, not because we want to disrupt stuff, but because we want to know the administration to know that we can't back down now.
Well, it appears it is going to turn out to be very large. They just called this thing to begin 2 or 3 minutes ago, and already they've begun to fill up the space in front of the Student Center. They are on both sides of the road here. Now, a police officer, one of the command officers told me this morning that there's some talk about taking over the street out here. What are they going to do about that? Well, a university official said, remember, this is the city of street fairs. We have streets closed here all the time. If they try to do it, we're not going to overreact. Not right away, anyway. Reporting live from Ann Arbor, I'm Ken Ford, Channel 7 Action News. Now they're moving out to the street.
Yeah, Ken, what do the students say about the reason that some of the police officers are armed, and that is for the security factor?
Well, that's very true, Robbie. They've done surveys here, and the fact is that most people on this campus are worried about safety out here. I might tell you, too, as you can see, something I alluded to a minute ago, they've just moved right out into the street. And so this is their plan. They're running. Maybe you can see it. They're running from all over the campus right now, coming out here. At the moment, there are hundreds, and they're literally expecting, from what I've been told, thousands of people out here this afternoon. It looks like the administration better be ready for more activity. Reporting live from Ann Arbor, I'm Ken Ford, Channel 7 Action News. Back to you, Robbie.
Thank you, Ken. And security around the administration building and around some of the other buildings in Ann Arbor will continue to be tight for the remainder of the day. University officials tell Action News it will remain that way until the disturbances die down.
Well, President Bush tonight.
I don't know about you, but I don't feel secure.
Words of anger and words of frustration. Tonight, the student unrest at the University of Michigan will not go away quietly. Good evening. Ask people if they want police patrolling their neighborhoods. Most will say yes. Ask them if they want those police to be armed, and most probably will say yes again. But armed police on a college campus, that's another matter. And tonight, some University of Michigan students are protesting. 16 have been arrested. The Newsbeat's Ann Thompson is on campus in Ann Arbor, where the demonstration continues tonight. Ann, how many students still protesting?
Well, Mort, through the night there have been about 350 students in and out of this protest, and that is only about 1% of the student body here at the U of M's Ann Arbor campus. That protest came to a head about 5 o'clock tonight at the Fleming Administration Building.
The students united will never be defeated. The students united will never be defeated.
Everybody that was inside right now is being arrested by our friends, the Ann Arbor cops.
And the police came and they said, we have a warrant for trespassing. You're warned, you have 5 minutes. Those who had legal defense and bail money stayed and were prepared to be arrested. Those who didn't left.
And you're one of the ones that left?
Yes.
No bail money?
Not today.
Dawn Polinsky stayed.
The police came in, they told us that we were under arrest for trespassing. First they read us the Trespassing Act. We sat down and linked arms. They told us we were under arrest.
Outside the Fleming building, Washtenaw County Sheriff's deputies and Ann Arbor police pulled up in riot gear. Students surrounded the vehicles, but the extra forces were never used.
There's nobody left up there. We've processed them, we arrested the people, we've processed them, and we've released them.
With that, the students went to the News and Information Building to pick up the 40 protesters there. From the News and Information Building, the protesters took their cause to the streets of Ann Arbor and then to President Duderstadt's house.
Folks, I'm not sure if the dude is coming to the door or not. The question is, are we willing to wait?
But the students may be waiting in vain.
We will not negotiate anything about university police. We are taking what we believe to be prudent steps to ensure a safe campus.
So despite those 16 arrests, the students away so far have come away empty-handed. None of their demands.
Michigan spokesman tell the Newsbeat the school does plan to press criminal trespass charges against the 16 students who were arrested this evening. Carmen?
U.S. Senator Don Regal of Michigan.
I gave him a willing helping hand for those dollars. Special Counsel Bennett says that in the case of 3, DeConcini of Arizona, Cranston of California, and Michigan's Don Regal, the answer seems to be yes.
There is evidence beyond the mere proximity of time that Senators Cranston, Regal, and DeConcini knew or should have known that Mr.